You're watching AndyTube, and you're watching part 13 of a Singer Model 404 full restoration series. Now that I've got this body all cleaned up and preventative oiled and greased, this is the time I usually change out the bed feet, the rubber feet. On these models, but when I get them, they're usually very hard. A lot of times they're crumbled, sometimes they're broken or missing. So I usually change them out, and I buy them about 12 at a time from a website called So Classic, SEW-classic.com, and I'll put a link in the information area below the video. But these are the exact replacement feet, and I buy them there because if I buy 12 or more, I get them for 55 cents. And with postage, they're about 70 or 75 cents, and that's the best deal I've found. So these were actually in pretty good shape. I already took off 3 of them. Sometimes though they're pretty rusty, because whether they're in a case or the machine's in a case or a table, they're exposed to the element, the air, and sometimes they've been sitting in storerooms and garage, and they can be pretty bad. So in the previous videos I've talked about doing WD-40 before removing screws. But I want to make it clear that WD-40, in my opinion, is not a penetrating oil. I use that to soften up that hardened, varnished oil so that I can get the screws out. I don't feel it works that well on rusty screws, and rather than use a penetrating oil, I use more of a kind of an impact wrench system. Now I have a little 2-ounce brass jeweler's hammer, but I can't find it today, so I'm just going to use this little ratchet screwdriver as my hammer. But if you get into here and these are stubborn and don't want to come out, what I do is, while I'm applying torque on it, is I tap it like that. And I don't pound on it, but I just tap it. It seems to break the rust out. So check the camera. Okay. So if you just kind of give it some good taps, and while you're turning, and there, it's starting to come out now. So you might want to try that method if you don't have any penetrating oil. But once you get them loose, and here it comes, usually won't come out that well, so I use my little magnet to get them out. And there's rust on these, but not too bad. I've seen them much worse. So what I'll do with these screws, I used to polish them meticulously with that Dremel brush, but since I found the Must for Rust product, I just soak them in this product for a few minutes to get the rust out. So as a matter of fact, let me put some of that in there, and you can even cut that down with water to get enough in there to cover the screws, and it won't take long. Depending on the rust, the longest it's ever taken is a half hour. But to get this off, these just kind of peeled off pretty good. Sometimes I've actually had to crumble them with pliers and scrape them out, but these, if I just put kind of a down and out pressure, they'll come off. and these were all whole. This one was starting to crack pretty bad, but the new ones, when you look at them, you'll think that they're taller, but it's just that the old one has worn down. So if you get pieces of the old one stuck in here, be sure to take something flat or a screwdriver or a nail file or something and scrape this out and clean it good. And if you see rust inside here, use a little bit of that must for rust on the interdental and wipe it out. So I'm going to soak these for a little bit, and when they look pretty good, I'll rinse them and show them to you. So hang in there and I'll be back with that. So that didn't take too long. It was about a 10-minute soak in the rust remover, and I could see the rust flaking right off. So I took them out and rinsed them, and I used this proxy brush again to just scrub that rust right out of the center, and this is how they come out. Just perfectly clean and ready to reinsert with the new bed feet. And I do go ahead and, as I do the other parts, and I put a little drop of oil on these and just give them a little coating of oil. And I also put a dab of oil in the screw hole. What I found over the years with this Tri-Flow is if the oil does happen to dry out, it leaves behind that Pt.13 resin, and I can break the screws loose real easy. So I just take one of my new feet and I'll insert the screw down in there, and then take my screwdriver and just put it right back in. Go a little bit left to get it seated, and come on you. There we go. And what I found on these is to deadhead the screws. And by deadhead, I mean put them in as far as they will go. Pretty snug. And there's my new rubber foot. So I do that with all four, and then they're all replaced and ready to go for the customer. The new feet will match the rest of the restoration of the machine, and you know, it costs me less than $4 really to do that, and it's a very nice touch to have it done. So that's how I break free the screws, take them out, soak them in the rust product a few minutes, wipe them off with a cloth, get the rust, oil them, and put them back in. And then these were easy because they didn't stick and they weren't too rusty. I've had some of them that are a little harder, and I've had some that were, you know, in a table or cabinet in a house their whole life, and they just came right out real easy. But very, very nice. So thanks for watching this part 13, and we'll see you next time on Andy Tube. Take care.